On February 3rd, a U.S. Air Force reconnaissance aircraft slid down the California coastline, skirting past Mexican airspace before turning south. It traced the Baja Peninsula, then took a sharp turn into the Gulf of California, threading the razor-thin boundary of international airspace. The aircraft in question was an RC-135V Rivet Joint, one of the most advanced airborne intelligence-gathering platforms in existence. Its presence in the tight confines of the Gulf was highly unusual, leaving more than one military analyst questioning the U.S.'s true intentions in deploying a spy aircraft of this caliber to the region. Just 24 hours later, the same aircraft took flight again, retracing its path and resuming its surveillance. A single flight could be dismissed, but twice in 2 days suggest an urgent mission with a clear target in sight. Whispers have spread, leaving many to wonder whether these flights signal the beginning of a broader operation in the region. America's high-tech spy plane. Since its inception during the Cold War, the RC-135 has been the U.S. Air Force's premier airborne signals intelligence platform. It was created to intercept and analyze electronic communications, serving as a flying spy network, capable of providing real-time intelligence on enemy military, government operations, and covert networks. The RC-135V flying next to Mexico was likely operated by a specialized crew of over 26 members, including electronic warfare officers, cryptologic linguists, and intelligence analysts, tasked with breaking down any information captured by the aircraft during the flight. Operated by the 55th Wing at Offutt Air Force Base, Nebraska, these aircraft are deployed worldwide. Their mission is to keep U.S. intelligence agencies one step ahead of allies and adversaries. The RC-135V, the specific model spotted flying alongside the Mexican coastline, is equipped with hypersensitive antennas, capable of capturing radio, telephone, and satellite transmissions, even encrypted ones. While in flight, the Rivet Joint monitors communications to find the exact location where signals are coming from. The information gathered can then be sent to ground forces, naval units, and intelligence agencies. These aircraft frequently conduct strategic surveillance missions along Russian and Chinese borders, tracking military movements and electronic defenses. In the Iraq War, Rivet Joints helped identify insurgent networks and locate high-value terrorist targets. During U.S. airstrikes against ISIS, intelligence collected from these aircraft determined strike locations and shaped battlefield strategies. None of this explains why a high-level surveillance aircraft was flying near Mexico, a region typically monitored by drones and maritime patrol aircraft, not advanced SIGINT platforms. The U.S. over Latin America. In recent years, U.S. intelligence gathering operations across Latin America have become more sophisticated. Advanced military aircraft, previously limited to combat missions, are now being deployed for intelligence gathering operations. One of the most evident examples is the P-8A Poseidon, originally designed as an anti-submarine and maritime patrol aircraft. Recently, the Poseidon aircraft has been used in counter-drug operations to locate cartel shipments. Operating along U.S. and Mexican waters, these aircraft do not engage in direct confrontations. Instead, they relay real-time intelligence to Coast Guard units and international law enforcement partners, ensuring that criminal vessels are intercepted before reaching their destinations. Even more unexpectedly, the B-1 Lancer and B-52 Stratofortress, long associated with strategic bombing missions, have been repurposed for counter-narcotics surveillance. Their long endurance, high-resolution targeting pods, and expansive surveillance capabilities allow them to cover vast open ocean areas and remote jungle terrain, where traditional law enforcement has a hard time operating. In just one mission, these bombers were able to help the U.S. Air Forces to track and halt the trafficking of over 6 tons of illegal drugs. U.S. Air Force Major Michael Flick, Weapons and Tactics Chief for the 9th Bomb Squadron, stated, quote, "Part of our current mission is to go out and find all types of different targets. It's a good opportunity for us to go exercise those combat capabilities that we have and are ready to execute, but don't necessarily get the opportunity to very much." This escalation in aerial surveillance, employing some of the most advanced aircraft in the U.S. arsenal, has been directly linked to President Donald Trump's efforts to militarize border security. Since discussions of designating drug cartels as terrorist organizations, the U.S. military has leaned toward the use of sophisticated intelligence assets to pinpoint key smuggling corridors, as well as cartel strongholds along the U.S.-Mexico border. Why the Gulf of California? However, despite increasingly advanced U.S. military aircraft patrolling Mexican shores, the route taken by the RC-135V Rivet Joint stands out as highly unusual. The spy plane ventured into a narrow corridor of airspace, rarely trafficked by U.S. forces, suggesting that American intelligence was searching for something specific within the confined waters of the Gulf of California. The most logical explanation points to the Sinaloa Cartel, one of the world's most potent and sophisticated criminal organizations. With deeply entrenched hubs near the U.S.-Mexico border, the cartel relies on the Gulf of California as a strategic maritime corridor, smuggling massive shipments of narcotics, weapons, and cash northward. Far from amateur criminal groups, cartels have amassed an arsenal of high-tech weaponry. Their fleet includes high-speed boats, semi-submersibles, and even fully submersible Narco-Subs, engineered to evade U.S. defense systems. In 2016, U.S. forces intercepted a cartel-operated submarine approximately 300 miles southwest of Panama, uncovering nearly 13,000 pounds of drugs aboard a self-propelled semi-submersible. This operation confirmed that cartels have been evolving, implementing military-grade tactics that have become increasingly harder to counter. It is believed that the recent RC-135V flights over the Gulf of California were part of a mission to either intercept or locate the covert launch points for these advanced smuggling operations. By tracing the cartel's supply routes and monitoring encrypted transmissions, the aircraft could develop new strategies to disrupt the organization's logistics and finances at their source. Another theory suggests that the RC-135's powerful signals intelligence suite may have been deployed to intercept radio and satellite communications between cartel operatives to determine whether the cartels are working with external actors, possibly including rogue military elements who may be aiding their operations. Was this a secret? It remains unclear if the U.S. Air Force intended for the RC-135V to be spotted, or if its presence was accidentally revealed. Most RC-135 flights are conducted without public detection, especially during high-stakes missions. However, the unusual flights over the Gulf of California were far too easy to track, appearing on public flight tracking software that allowed both amateur aviation enthusiasts and professional military analysts to trace the aircraft's exact route. Some believe this was a mistake caused by a technical malfunction or a refueling operation that briefly exposed its route. If this was an accident, it could have serious consequences, not just for future reconnaissance missions in the region, but for any U.S. military efforts seeking to gain intel on cartel activity. With cartels becoming aware of these patrols, the Air Forces risk losing the element of surprise, giving enough time to criminal organizations to relocate their operations or even escalate their measures against aerial surveillance. The public visibility of these flights suggests a possible strategic message from the U.S. Air Force, demonstrating their advanced surveillance capabilities to criminal organizations. Questions remain about coordination with Mexican authorities, particularly as President Sheinbaum has deployed 10,000 military personnel to combat organized crime. Some analysts suggest these RC-135V patrols indicate a covert agreement between both nations to enhance surveillance of smuggling routes. What comes next? Despite the many theories circulating, what the RC-135V's crew saw remains a secret, as does what the U.S. intends to do with the information. If the aircraft succeeded at intercepting cartel communication, there might be even more U.S. surveillance flights in the region, possibly escalating beyond reconnaissance to include bomber and strike aircraft capable of direct action. This would not be the first time RC-135 patrols have announced a military strike. In April 2018, an RC-135 aircraft conducted surveillance runs off the coast of Syria. Just days later, the U.S. launched a massive missile strike, using ships, submarines, and B-1 bombers to destroy Assad regime weapon facilities. President Donald Trump has been clear about his intention to escalate military operations against cartel networks if Mexico is not able to reduce the impact of those networks. The real question is whether he will limit his forces to intelligence gathering or take the next step toward direct military action.